everything. And then I see some numbers here. So if you want to be, you did something with the lens. Do you want to do that?
The lens, this is down here. This is your focus ring. It goes from, this is how you determine the focus. Most of the time, I will put this on infinity because the depth of field that we're using, say if you're shooting a camera with an f-stop, which is your aperture setting of f22, this one goes clear down to f45, which is just a pinhole.
Oh.
And that's the amount of light that comes in through the lens. And like f45, you can go clear down to f11 or f45. That determines on how much light's going to come through the lens to produce that photograph. And the greater the number, the more depth of field distance you'll have that's going to be in focus from your foreground to your infinity. So most of the time, I'll set it on infinity because I know that's going to cover it. So, and then if you want to adjust your f-stops or your shutter speeds, then this is all manual too. You have to move this little dial back and forth like that to whatever your shutter speed is. So, and this, you can kind of line it up with this little knob there. So, and then for shutter release, if you're ready to snap the photo, this is where you bring the piece of film, advance it for your exposure, and then you trip this little shutter release thing there. And then you click this to expose it.
Oh, so, this is the clicker. Oh, so I've never seen a camera like this, Gary. It's just.
But to do this is not a handhold camera. It's a tripod only.
Okay.
So, but if you have a slower shutter speed, then you can use that little bottom one.
Okay.
So click it. So there's no film in here, but this is how big the actual negative is. This folds down. You have a film spool here comes across, and this is the take up spool where the exposed film goes into this one.
Okay.
But it's 100% manually, and you have to load it manually too. And that's how big the actual negative is.
Nice.
So it's not digital.
So it's like this, right? This is the negative?
So yeah, that's the actual size of the real negative.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
But this is actually one of my favorite cameras because it's really a challenge to use this camera. You have to really pay attention to what you're doing. You have to train your eye to see how the film's going to record the image. So, so I'll use a base exposure that I shot with a digital camera, and then I'll do what we call bracketing. So I'll do one or two shots overexposed, or maybe one exposure underexposed. So out of four of those images, one of those is going to be pretty darn close to what I'm looking for.
Okay.